Hello, my name is Mercedes Garcia. I'm the head of Global Issues and Innovation at the European Union delegation to the United States. In our work, we have the privilege to engage with a number of thought leaders who are combating climate change, making our food more sustainable, and making our planet more sustainable as well. Today, I'm joined by one of those thought leaders, Chef Jose Andres, who's the founder of World Central Kitchen. World Central Kitchen has served more than 3 million meals to frontline health workers and vulnerable communities in more than 155 cities during the COVID crisis. Jose Andres, thanks for joining us. Gracias y bienvenido.
Thank you. Gracias a ti.
World Central Kitchen has done a remarkable job during this crisis, as I've just described. What is the partnerships that you have created and built upon to deliver the amount of response that you have? And what have you learned from previous crises that has helped you deliver in this one too?
World Central Kitchen as an organization was founded after the earthquake in Haiti. And quite frankly, I never imagined that we will be going only from doing a few hundred, few thousand meals a day to hundreds of thousands of meals in different events we've been part of. Some of the bigger ones, Puerto Rico, where we did 4 million meals. And indirectly, we kind of guided other organizations to join us to maximize the potential of the relief we were giving, like partnering with the system of education. I think Bahamas was one of the biggest ones. We did more than 3.5 million meals. We were the first NGO. We arrived 10, 11 days before any of the big NGOs. We reached 75,000 meals a day in a matter of 5 days. We were able to do this across 14 islands. With the need of helicopters and seaplanes and a boat with heli landing capacity. That was the only way in the early days that we could take care of so many people that they were badly damaged. We didn't only do food because people now they think we're cooks, that we show up and cook. That's only the beginning of what we do. What we do is we create distribution systems. If you have any asset, if you have water, if you have food, if you have medicines, that's okay to have them. But if you don't get them to the people that need them, equals you are not doing anything. I have a feeling like we are the kind of organization we deliver the first second. And as we show up with boots on the ground, we're able to understand the need. And so allow us to make quick decisions and adapt into the situation. Other organizations, they plan too long, they meet for too long, and sometimes is no way that you can be helping in an emergency in an office. You have to be helping with boots on the ground. And that's what World Central Kitchen does. We land quickly, we are next to the people in need quickly, we listen to their needs, we see on our own, we make our own assessments, but we make assessment as we deliver food or water or medicines, or in the case of Bahamas that we even were doing medical evacuations. During COVID-19, we began working in Japan many months ago when the Princess cruise ship had 6,000 men and women from different countries around the world that was arriving to the port of Yokohama. And we partnered with Princess cruise ship and the Japanese government, and we helped them feed more than 18,000 meals a day for the men and women inside the boat. We were there for over 4 weeks because we make sure that until the last person left the boat, that we will be there helping. Why a group of cooks feeding a cruise ship in Yokohama? We've been somehow gaining experience by being in Haiti under cholera situations, in Mozambique, in Beira, under cholera situations. And we've developed our own health systems in place to protect our teams, but as important to protect the people that we were delivering food. I can say that every camp we've ever fed. Cholera was never an issue. And I'm very proud of that because we adapted to something we didn't even know this was going to be part of our situation. COVID helped us. We went from Japan to Auckland to help Governor Newsom when another cruise ship arrived. So already in our brain, weeks before even this was something like, was about to become big beyond Asia, in Europe and America and other parts of the world, we already had our brain on adapting to what was coming. We began ordering masks. At the end of the day, we had more N95 masks in Washington, D.C. than many people. Why cooks with the mask? Because we saw what was coming. We ordered them to protect our teams from each other and making sure that we will be providing a healthy environment. When we learned that hospitals didn't have any, we began very quickly giving away all those N95 masks to every single hospital until we ran out of them. What did we do different this time? The entire industry has closed of restaurants. That means that all of a sudden, this is an emergency where it's not destruction that is visible. We have electricity, that's a good thing. We have telephones working, we have satellites working, we have cars working, the streets are okay. All of a sudden is a different thing. We can be infecting each other by being next to each other. And we had to be creating the parameters of how to behave in close quarters in kitchens, and also how we will be handling the food distribution. That's what we began doing. So we partnered with many restaurants. We opened some of our own kitchens. We have more than 600 restaurants, private sector coming to the help. We are able to, the funds we receive from people, put them at the service of the restaurants. But more important, we created health protocols that we share with everybody. So we understand that in the kitchens now you cannot have so many people working, that all of a sudden the food, when you receive food and when you deliver food, is certain things that you have to be doing from the sanitary point of view. And success means that nobody will get sick in the process of feeding people in need. Right now, we're doing close to 250,000 meals a day. We've already reached over 5 million. We are in different countries, obviously in the States. We cover the blind spots that the system doesn't cover. So if food banks are having an issue somewhere, we try to help there. If the school districts have an issue, we cover there. Hospitals, we are in more than 400, covering different needs during the day of the hospital. In low-income districts, we are right there. Homeless that sometimes don't receive in moments like this any aid, we are there. So we are an organization that we adapt quickly. We spend the money before we even get it, which is a good sign for an organization. Hunger is something in these situations that is always forgotten, but is real. And people that never expect to be hungry, all of a sudden they have difficult situation because lack of income, lack of jobs, etc., etc. So that's what Warsaw Drug HM has been doing since we began this pandemic.
Thank you. What's the personal moment that will stay with you from this crisis and that you will tell your grandchildren?
Well, I think in this moment we've seen that we have a society that we have always our heroes of can be sports, NBA figures, or football or baseball, our singers, our actors, and they are the heroes of many because sometimes because they are very unique in their craft, in what they do, and many of them have also a very good side of humanity in the sense of helping others and using their star power to bring awareness to people. And I love that in many players and in many singers and in many actors when they put at the service of helping others their power with all the people that follow them and look at them with respect. And this is great. But what I think is even greater, that I think we're going to come out of this understanding that people that even present in our society, we didn't even recognize them. All of a sudden, we're going to have a higher degree of awareness that the person delivering your pizza in normal days, all of a sudden, that person is an essential worker that is keeping many families fed and putting his life at risk. That woman that is in the supermarket cashier 8 hours every day, taking care of 200 families at a time. All of a sudden, that woman is putting herself at risk and her family by being there, taking your payment every single day. That woman, all of a sudden, is an essential worker and a hero in many ways. I don't want to mention, obviously, that is obvious, the nurses and doctors that we understand that from now on, we're never going to be seeing those men and women working in hospitals under the same light. They've raised to the occasion in ways we've never imagined. All of a sudden, everyday men that are in charge of delivering our mail, or now people working for FedEx or UPS, all of a sudden, those men and women are doing an amazing work. The same with school bus drivers, the same with cooks. Now, all of a sudden, the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, that somehow these people that we took for granted, because we are paying them for a service, all of a sudden, those men and women are helping deliver food. Like in the case of World Central Kitchen, we have many of those digital platforms partnering with us, and we've been using them in a moment that we don't have a lot of volunteers for obvious reasons. We use those systems to keep them employed, because it's a moment that is important to keep everybody employed, a lot of people in need of a job, but at the same time doing it safely, and at the same time putting them at the service of helping, in our case, deliver food all around. So I think the best moment is this, that people are going to be finally, I hope, recognize that those men and women that sometimes are ghosts of our system, we understand the value and the importance that every one of them have. And I hope we will value from now on, treating them with respect even more, making sure that they are paid right, etc., etc. So I think that's the best. I think we are going to see an explosion of empathy. I think empathy hopefully is going to win the day. This is a word I've been using now for years. I see lately, like many politicians, are using the word empathy. President Bush gave a great 3-minute message the other day through social media. He used the word empathy. Vice President Biden has been using the word empathy. I see men and women right and left using the word empathy. And I do believe this is going to be a game changer as soon as we move away from this crisis.
I wanted to ask you something about food. The European Union is developing something we call farm to fork strategy to make sure that our food, which is already, we hope, quite sustainable, even becomes even more sustainable and contributes to combat climate change. Do you think this crisis will change the way we think about food and we relate to food?
Well, I hope we will change the way we relate to food and we think about food. I think we take food for granted. And we describe food often as the problem, when we should be having the perspective of seeing food as the solution. But this is not going to happen until our governments, the leading organizations in the world, the European community, the United States of America, the United Nations, recognize food as a national security issue. Presidents of the world usually will have experts in war or in defense next to them to make sure that the countries are protected, the people are protected, and the gas is protected, and hopefully is peace through knowing that war may be around the corner, which is kind of a strange strategy, but I guess that's the way the countries of the world do it. I wish, in the same way we have generals next to our presidents or defense experts, we also will have next to the presidents food experts. When I say we take it for granted, means I am a private sector guy and I like private and I don't like a lot of government intervention. But at the same time, we need to understand why the creation of government is. That is to provide the right conditions to make sure that people, individuals, communities thrive with the right amount of laws that everybody plays by, and the right support in the right moments when some members of our communities kind of go under and need government aid and government support. Government should be there precisely to make sure that the people that are not faring so well will be able to make it. And when we forget about what's the role of government on that sense, we have a lot of people that do great and that they have the power to control the laws of the land. That's a matter. But then we have people that don't have that power, and they are the ones that usually their voice is not heard when they go to vote. They seem not to have representation, or even worse, nobody representing them, which is the people that are obviously in the lower spheres of our society. And I think this has to change specifically towards food. I do believe we're in a moment that we may have social unrest because lack of food. We saw the Arab Spring that in part was that man that burned himself in the middle of the square because they were not letting him make a living just because he was selling fruits and vegetables. But more often than not, we don't realize when civil unrest happens, even when we have centuries of history, that has happened when we are not able to produce and give food to the people that are in need of that food. Right now, this is happening. We see moments in different parts of the world that we have food that is being dropped in the fields, orange that are not picked from the trees, zucchinis that are thrown in the middle of a field, potatoes that are big mountains that nobody seems to be able to sell anywhere. And in the other hand, we have long lines in food banks across the world, in neighborhoods where it's real hunger, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the governments should be here to provide an answer to those moments. If here is all this production, and here is all this hunger and this need, we need to make sure that the governments step in a leadership role, making sure that they make the right decisions to solve this problem and transform it into a solution. So food needs to be taken more seriously. I think that one day we will have the next terrorist attack through our food sources. I think that you asked about the climate change. I think if we do everything that needs to be done right, climate change will be the beneficiary of all these things. For me, the most important right now is if we have hungry people, that's a real problem. Because by having hungry people or poor people, people in need, we are helping the increase of climate change by, for example, families that cannot afford the same gas that you and I use, or other, or new, even cleaner ways, electric or otherwise, ways to feed families. They're the ones that are going to be cutting trees. They're the ones going to be making charcoal. They're the ones going to be, through deforestation, create climate environments that they are not good for the countries. We can see an island like Hispaniola, where you see Dominican Republic full of trees, Haiti empty of trees, and how Haiti is drier than Dominican Republic, even when they are in the same part in the Caribbean. So forests are very important for helping drive the right climate solutions. Charcoal is a problem when families cannot afford to buy cleaner, or they don't have access to cleaner sources of energy. All those things, directly and indirectly, are around food. So even the energy we use to cook the energy that we need to eat, if it's the wrong type of energy, indirectly, we are increasing the temperature and the emissions in our planet Earth. So hunger itself has to be solved, because if we are able to fight hunger directly, indirectly, we are fighting climate change in more ways than we even imagine, in more ways than we even think. So I think it's going to be key that from now on, governments, United Nations, European community, United States of America, every other country, they do understand the importance of food. Priyat Sabaran in 1826, he said, "Tell me what you eat and I'll tell you who you are." But he said one phrase that should be part of every single nation, national food security. He said the future of the nations will depend on how they feed themselves. More than ever, that's something like leaders of the world should take to heart, should not take food for granted no more. And if we want to end immigration issues in our countries, it seems it's the new rich country problem that we get too many immigrants and that people are coming from poorer countries. I need everybody to ask themselves, if you were the one poor and you wanted to provide for your children, what will you do? And what will you do is go to the place that in paper you can feed your children. So why food is so important? We should fight immigration, and I say fight and probably is the wrong word, by providing those that don't have anything the means to provide for their own. So let's build longer tables and shorter walls. Let's don't think like we need to be defending ourselves from anybody, but we should be thinking like we should be providing to others the same thing we are trying to provide to our own. What is the best solution for national security? To protect the borders of entire countries? Make sure that the surrounding countries around you do as well as you are doing. And make sure that you understand that riches for you must be riches for others. We should be investing more in Africa. In the case of Europe, we should be investing more in Central and South America, in the case of the United States and Canada. And if we do that, all of a sudden, you stop all those migrations, because people only migrate from their homes they love, where they have their family, when they're desperate for food. Let's stop throwing money at the problem, building walls, and looking to the other side. And let's start investing in the solutions, which is provide aid to others, so the problem just becomes an amazing transformation and an amazing opportunity. And food can be an amazing tool to make sure that the world runs better, and where we give more opportunity to everybody to be part of this planet Earth as one with the people.
As World Central Kitchen has shown, in the event of a crisis, we're all stronger together. And I wanted to ask you, as someone with a truly transatlantic life experience, born in Asturias, Spain, and then becoming a worldwide known chef and humanitarian in the US, what in your experience and your opinion mostly unites Americans and Europeans?
I mean, I think we have a tendency to live the present, and sometimes the moments of now, they are not helped by bringing information of history and what happened in the past. I think more than ever, America, Europe, we need to go back just to the people. We the people, everybody wants the same. They want to provide for their children, their families. They want to live in a thriving community. They want to make sure that they are part of a winning country, democracy that everybody is proud of. We all love, for good or for bad, our flags. We need to make sure that we don't use flags as a weapon against others. We need to be using flags as being proud of who you are, and expecting everybody respecting you, and you respecting everybody else. So I think it's plenty there to work together, but it's kind of, to me as a cook, I've been following very closely everything that has especially to do with food. And in this DNA, we have these moments that certain health code rules for meat production in Europe and in America are different. And here we have almost like a commercial war. That shouldn't be happening, because Europe loves America and America loves Europe. We should just have the same health laws on that, and everybody should be pushing for that. And we can keep adding and adding. I think, if anything, this pandemic is going to be showing us one thing, and especially I hope for Europe, it will be true, that a virus like this shows us that there are no nationalities, that there are no frontiers, no borders, that we are all together. And if we want to do well, everybody must do well. Means that if anything, the European community today, cooperation between the countries, I hope every country will learn that that's the only way forward. and that together we can achieve and fight this virus better than if everybody works alone and without coordination. Because a virus, you can build the walls you want, that virus will get to you. So apply that virus to everything else in life. If we work together, chances of success, I believe, will be always higher than not. If we don't work together, I think failure is around the corner. So I hope we will all learn out of this virus that yes, Europe, America, their destiny is to work closely together. Even in the last 3 years, we've seen a bit of the mentality of me first, I first, America first, some countries in Europe. It's okay that you want to look after your own, but you must make sure that you don't do it at the expense of others. This may work in the short term, that you only look for your own, but in the long term, this will eventually never work. In America, it was created under these 3 words, we the people. I believe we the people today should be used for more than America itself, but should be used for Europe, should be used for the world. We the people means all the people. And I think we can achieve that success if we all have clarity on the meaning of those 3 words. And we should be always looking for the mid-long term, not for the immediate satisfaction of providing for your own, but you don't care about the rest of the world. I think the new way in this 21st century is going to be what must be good for you, must be good for everybody else. That's the only way forward, I believe.
Thank you so much, Jose Andres, for having joined us today. And if you want to donate or cooperate with World Central Kitchen, please go to wck.com.
.org. wck.org.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.